Philip Humbard,
Here.
Lauren Shackelford, absent.
I think Maria is supposed to be here.
Mary is supposed to be here, that's what she said, so most likely she's stuck in traffic.
Okay. Approval of the agenda. Is the agenda as submitted or is, okay. Do I need a motion to approve the agenda or just, okay. Need a motion?
I make a motion, we approve the agenda as it stands.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so for new business, we're going to first hear variance hearings in the county. The first one is Michael and Sharon Bradley variance, so I'll turn it over to staff for their comments.
Thank you.
Okay, so first we've got the Michael and Sharon Bradley variance. We've got our vicinity, site map, and neighbor maps. The applicant is requesting a variance to split a parcel of land off their property that is smaller than 1 acre. The parent tract is 9.15 acres. The variance would be for a 0.76 acre parcel, and to date, planning staff has not received any comments concerning the project. Then we have our standard planning conditions for approval. Do we have any questions?
Hey, Maria.
Anybody on the board have any questions? Seeing none, we'll open it up to public comment. Anyone in the public have any comment on this? All right, seeing none, bring it back to the board.
So that is strictly is going to be like just like residential, there is no changes, so
Yeah.
nothing else.
Look pretty,
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion, we approve the variance.
I'll second the motion, we approve the variance.
all right, we've got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, the next item is in the Fayetteville planning area, LNF Construction LLC variance. It's a setback. To staff, please.
We've got our vicinity map, the site map, and the neighbor map. The project is in the Fayetteville planning area. The applicant is requesting a variance from the setbacks due to inadvertently constructing within the front 25-foot setback. That's on the Broderick Street. The structure encroaches on the setback by about 5 feet, and to date, planning staff has not received any comments concerning this project.
The encroachment was like happened by mistake by the builder, so that's why they came to us, just to make sure everything is correct.
Okay, anyone have any other questions of the staff? Open it up to the public. Does anyone have a comment or question? All right, seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board. We've got a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. All right, we're going to close the ZBA Zoning Board of Adjustments portion of this, and we're going to open up a,
Yeah, we need an adjourned vote first and second.
okay, have a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, now we'll adjourn. I tried to take over power right there all of a sudden. It'll happen, won't it? All right, now we'll go to the conditional use permit hearing. Roll call.
Joe Maynard. Maria Banks. Lisa Miller.
Here?
Jay Piercy. Neil Helm. Philip Humbard.
Here.
Lauren Shackelford is absent.
All right. The approval of the November the 2nd meeting, minutes of the meeting. Need a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
Second.
All right, got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Approval of the agenda, the December 7th agenda.
Agenda as presented.
It's as presented. All right, need a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second that motion.
All right, got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, under new business, this is in the county.
Yes, sir.
The
Money and
Munyon.
Road, like wireless, like
Wireless
communications, facility.
I believe we've done this one.
We've done this before, and it's coming. So here's the vicinity site map, and the neighbor notification went out like to 4 people only. So this, the applicant, like Harmony Towers, is proposing to construct and operate like a wireless communication facility on a parcel owned by Richard and Tammy Hale. AT&T Mobility will be the carrier and like tower lease company. This parcel is located in an area that is zoned for agriculture and single-family residential, 1 unit per acre. Anything else, like as we know, it needs to go through the CUP, and that's why we're here. And that is like the site, the project background, as you asked. In 2019, the CUP was approved on September 26th and ratified on October 21st. The CUP expired since like no construction or anything like commenced since then. So it's like beyond the 18 months like requirements, and that's why they're reapplying again. The administrative review was approved on December 2nd. Nothing has changed, so like the CUP needs to go forward again. The administrative is okay. So this is the lease area where like the applicant is proposing the construction of like a 75 by 75 enclosed like facility. Lots of information here. They have like 50-foot like wide access easement, proposed like 120 feet like hammer turn for like fire trucks in case if they need it. The tower itself is going to be 190 foot like self-supported tower. And you can see the 75 by 75 like fenced compound concrete, which is the leased area for the tower. And they have ripraps in case of there's like flooding or anything. And the access easement to it is about like 20 foot or like 0 degree. So everything is like from 2019. And those like, it's another view of the site. You can see the house like to the south of the tower existing, so they haven't changed anything. And those like the instrument and the antennas that are gonna be on the tower. Here is another like summary of it, like the southwest portion of the county. That's like, that's what the map's showing. The green stars represent existing known cell towers. The red like circle represents like the project location. The nearest like towers are like 6.9 miles and 5.2 miles away. This leaves a service gap in between them, which is like, that's why they're proposing this tower to be there. Here is like another like view that's part of the easement traveled between the poultry houses, which is the dotted line. And I've been there like in 2019 when Sita used to work for us, and I've been there like a few weeks ago. Nothing has changed. Everything looks exactly the same. This is the road like we traveled like to get to the tower area, and that is like the gate that leads to the property where like the tower is going to be located, the leased area basically. There's another scene looking south. So the building setbacks, we have like lots of ordinances that governs the antennas. So I'm gonna go like over them like briefly. The tower is like 190 foot as mentioned tall. Cell towers was like reviewed administratively and approved to meet our like requirements on December 2nd, 2019. And that's the project number there. Section 11-307 states that like towers must be located so that there are like no residences within like 150% of the tower height. In this case, the 150% of the 190 feet is 285 feet. The dark blue area where like you see it down there is like 280. It represents 285 feet. The nearest like residence is about like 442 feet away, so like we're good there. Section 11-306 states that all towers shall be setback from the nearest like edge of the road by at least 20 feet plus the height of the tower. Again, the tower is proposed is like 190 feet. That plus 20 is 200 feet. The county road approximately 3,750 feet away from the tower. And the entrance to the project is approximately like 400 to 300 feet away, so we're good there as well. So the tower is designed to collocate up to 3 antennas as described by 1, 2, 3. So number 1 is going to be the AT&T, and the rest of them, they're going to be leased some other time. The gated fence will be approximately 6 feet tall with like 3 strands of barbed wire running along the top. And on May 2nd, 2019, the planning board approved the conditional use permit for a wireless communication facility approximately like a mile away to the west from this project, the green dot, if you can see it. So in 2019, the applicant conducted a study to see if they could collocate on the Dutch Mill CUP tower, but there is a 400 feet ridge line that prevents the signal from reaching other sides of the Dutch Mill CUP tower. The location of this current facility on Money Road allows for the better signal like overall, so that's why they're proposing it like they're close to each other relatively. Collocating on the Dutch Mill CUP tower would result in poor coverage, as you can see to the left and right, and where the coverage is already poor because of the ridge in between. So we have like few utility conditions. There is no issues with them. They met most of them. Water condition is the same. The fire safety is like straightforward, like they agreed to all of this previously, so nothing is going to change. And our planning condition is like the standard one. Anything is going to happen, any additional use or like any changes needs to go before the planning board. Any questions?
Anyone have any questions from the board?
Has anybody moved in since then?
No, it's the same people who own the property that lived on that house, and like nothing has changed since 2019. It's all the same. They have more chicken homes like than residences. So.
All right, seeing no questions from the board, I'm going to open it up to the public. Is anyone here from the public who'd like to speak to this matter? All right, seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board. Got a motion to approve?
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor say yes? Yes. All right. Go on to the next item.
Thank you.
This is in the county. CDS Motorsports CUP, conditional use permit request. Turn it over to the staff to make presentation.
So we've got our vicinity map shown, the site map, and the neighbor map, everyone that was notified. The applicant is requesting a conditional use permit to be in compliance to run an automobile mechanic shop in a 100-foot by 150-foot pre-engineered steel structure on the property. The parcel is 16.31 acres. A parking lot and delivery area will surround the building, and the combined area of the building and parking area will be 0.73 acres. The applicant plans to sell used cars, used trailers, and racing fuel. Additionally, the shop will be used to clean and repair his delivery vehicle fleet for another business. There is also an area for storage and loading fuel. The shop will contain an office space and a showroom to conduct business and meet customers. In addition, the shop will have a built-in dynamometer device, known as dyno, to measure the torque and rotational speed of an engine or car's motor. The project parcel contains the applicant's home, a personal storage building, and a 1,500 square foot gravel parking lot. There will be 2 full-time employees in addition to the applicant. Hours will be Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m., and the site will be used for personal use on the weekends. The applicant indicated that there will be no signage on the property or on the shop building, and a security gate will be located at the entrances to the property. Planning staff conducted a site visit on October 18th, 2023, to inform the property owner of county zoning and regulation, and requested submitting a conditional use permit application to proceed with the proposed project. To date, planning staff has received 2 comments in opposition and 1 comment in support of the project. Comments, they cite noise, compatibility, and safety concerns. Those complaints that were shared with us include the incompatibility with the zoning in the area, fire safety hazards, noise, traffic safety, and used car storage capacity. We have a number of fire safety conditions and a number of planning conditions as well. And if there are any questions?
Yeah, I have several questions. In the planning conditions, it says that the applicant should stay within their hours of proposed operation, 8:30 to 5 p.m. Remind us of the enforcement options that the county has if we're tuning up cars, loud engines at midnight. What happens?
Well, like, we're assuming that, like, the applicant's gonna honor, like, what he presented, like, in the application, and, like, he should, like, stick to his hours of operation. Yeah, he's gonna have, like, 2 employees, and he's gonna be there, like, on weekends. So, like, hopefully, like, he will, like, just stick to what he, like, mentioned. Yeah.
Otherwise, county noise ordinances would
Yeah,
come.
we don't have, like, a county noise ordinances. It's, like, normally, like, after 10 p.m. to 7 a.m., like, like the standard, don't make noise. But, like, we're hoping with this kind of, like, project, it's gonna be maybe, like, noisier than normal, that he will stick to those hours, like, of quietness.
Okay, the second question is, under fire safety conditions, are these required and enforceable by the fire department? The state fire
Well,
marshal?
we don't have, like, as everyone knows, we don't have, like, enforcement, but, like, he needs to coordinate with the state fire marshal for lots of them. And that's what, like, we got, like, most of our, like, conditions from the state, like, code. So he needs to be able, like, to coordinate with them and, like, meet their requirements.
I guess my question is more specific than that, in that I see these requirements and they would assuage any concern that I would have about danger to neighbors and spills and that
Definitely,
kind of
yeah, yeah.
thing, if they are implemented.
Yeah.
If they're not implemented, then I have a concern.
I understand, and, like, and this came to our, like, attention actually from the Round Mountain fire chief, who came to us and says, like, are you aware of this project? It's gonna be so and so. So we checked their website, and, like, we went through all the pictures, and most of the pictures you've seen, it's actually from their, like, Facebook page. And I did, like, a conducted site visit and, like, spoke to the Mr. Harvey, who's, like, doing the construction, like, management over there. And after that, like, I talked to Mr. like Collier, and, like, he came and applied. He is aware that, like, he needs to be able, like, to meet the conditions, the fire safety condition of the fire marshal, the state fire marshal.
And are they planning on visiting the site and checking for
I
compliance?
believe they already did, and I believe they already did, but, like, I'm not sure, like, what's gonna happen, how they're gonna, like, implement this, or, like, how they're gonna enforce it. But he should be able, like, to coordinate with them as well.
No, that's not the county's responsibility, it's the fire marshal's.
It's the state fire marshal, yeah. And the other thing, like, it's in our condition, however, the property is, like, or the development itself is, like, less than 1 acre, but, like, our, like, county engineer, from what he's seen and the kind of development that's happening and the impervious, like, surface, he recommends that this project go like to the next level for, like, the large scale. So we'll see about that, and, like, we'll coordinate with the engineer and see what's gonna happen. Yes, ma'am.
In addition to the state fire marshal, does the state of Arkansas have a railroad commission that also has to look at this? Some of the other states have a railroad commission that formally looks at fuels. They're stored in this manner.
I mean, the only thing, like, we looked at is, like, the state fire marshal conditions, and I'm not sure, like, if there is anything.
There may
else.
be a higher regulation than that, though,
It could
even.
be, yeah, it could be,
I'm concerned.
yeah.
Okay.
I guess the issue I do have is that this selling of used vehicles, and how many non-working vehicles might be
It was not disclosed in the application how many use is gonna be, or like how this business is gonna go down. I mean, like what kind of like used, unused vehicle.
Well, we've in the past have approved a few of these,
Yep.
it seems like, and
we became
I've
junkyards.
always been disappointed after
Yep,
after we've approved them,
mean,
because we have row after row of beat-up old vehicles that are never, are salvaged, basically, instead of used vehicles.
one of the things that like Mr. Collier's mentioned, Mr. Collier mentioned like in the application that he's gonna like be, he's conscious about like how the neighborhood is gonna view his business, and he's gonna try to do his best like to make it look okay. And look much better than it
Well, the
used to.
issue is there's very little place to put these salvage vehicles, and once somebody finds out that you can take one here, they almost give them to you, you know, to get rid of them, and now you've got a pile of them sitting around.
Yeah, the applicant
So-
is here, like if you wanna like direct this
Okay,
question.
we'll ask
sure.
him about that
Yep.
too, okay?
One other thing too, these look like race cars. If they're testing engines out and they're using nitro fuel, what's the decibel level gonna be like on this kind of stuff as they're testing these engines?
It's loud. I don't know exactly how much, but it's loud. I mean, dynos are like loud, they're known to.
Any other questions of the board? No? Okay, from then I'll open it up to the audience, and is the applicant here and like to make a presentation? Yes, sir. Go ahead. No presentation? All right, anyone else like to make a comment? Anyone have a question of the applicant? Okay, we've got someone back here. Yes, sir, come to the front, state your name and address, and we'll listen to you.
Okay, my
I
name,
just, before we get started, I just want to let you know that public comment is limited to 3 minutes per person.
I'll
And
try to
then,
keep it short.
and if you're speaking for a group, we can go up to 10 minutes, so thank
Well,
you.
I'm speaking, my name is Rick Bowes. And me and my wife own land just a little bit west of where this is taking place, just above Black Oak Church. I'm also the chairman of the board for the Black Oak Baptist Church, of the Elder Committee. And I have one of my other elders here with me tonight. And the Black Oak Church sits real close to this. My concerns are, I've really got two main concerns, and one of them is a fuel issue. We're talking about thousands of gallons of high octane fuel sitting in that building. Okay, I worked in a warehouse for 21 years. I have seen racks collapse. And the Mason Branch, a creek, it's right next to his property. I just want to know what happens if this fuel is not contained. It makes it into that branch. It goes right into the Middle Fork River, and right on down the White River, and right on into Beaver Lake. So the fuel has me concerned. Plus, it's highly explosive. It's highly combustible. And is there any kind of regulation on how much fuel he is able to keep in that building at one time? Why would he need 6, 7, 8,000 gallons of fuel? That's one of my concerns. Another one of my concerns, and this is speaking for not only my house, but the Black Oak Church also, because I speak for them. The noise level and the restrictions on it on different, where it's just restricted, you said, what, 9 to 5? Then he'll have it for private use.
8:30 to 5.
But he'll be able to use.
He's gonna be like using it for his private.
Okay, now we also have Bible studies on Saturdays. We have, where there needs to be some kind of restriction on this. How are we gonna hold Bible studies? Plus, we have projects go on sometimes on the weekend on Saturdays. How are we gonna able to take care of this with that much? If anybody has ever heard a race car revved 8,000 RPMs on a dyno, they'll know what I'm talking about, because I've heard it. There's a lot of racket going on. How are we going to conduct our services and what we do at the Black Oak Baptist Church with all this noise going on? That's what concerns me. What kind of restrictions are we going to be able to completely enforce on this, to where we can go ahead and conduct church business on Saturdays. There's something else, but I can't keep it within 3 minutes if I get into this other thing. It kind of irritates me too, but we won't go into that right now. But I have some deep concerns on this, where the Black Oak Baptist Church especially is concerned. And the main thing is the noise level. And what kind of restrictions are gonna be put on it.
Would it be all right if I asked the applicant a question? How long do these dyno tests last? Few minutes, like 5 minutes?
Depends on how many pulls you do.
So they're not for like hours at a time, right? All right. Is this something you would do during the normal course of business, or is this something that you would want to do on the weekends?
Probably during the normal course of business, but very infrequently.
So why are you doing these tests? Because you're building motors for people, or testing fuel, or, I mean, what?
I race cars.
Race cars for yourself? Yeah. How many of these tests do you think you'd do a month?
Less than 5.
5 tests a month?
Can I ask, is there any way that it's gonna be taking place inside of the building?
You would.
Is there any way you can soundproof?
Is it insulated
Is
building?
it
It is
soundproof?
an insulated building.
That would help a lot.
Well, I just,
And
you know, I see that as a nuisance. I don't see it as something that's gonna be, you know, ongoing every day, all day.
it's one of those things that only time will tell.
Yes, sir, I agree.
And
Hopefully that y'all can work this out between you, that if it's approved, that, you know, hey, we're gonna have a meeting here, you know, Saturday morning, can you hold off to 2 o'clock to do this, or, you know? I'm sure you could, look like reasonable people, you could talk it out.
But, you know, my 3 minutes are up, I realize
I know,
that.
well, I'm asking you questions, so,
Yeah, I realize that.
yeah.
But that is my 2 main concerns is
Well,
all the thousands of gallons of raw fuels.
thousands, how many gallons do you think you will have there, sir?
I'm not sure, it's always sealed. We don't open.
You don't open, you just sell them by the barrel to people?
It comes in factory sealed.
I mean, you're gonna have 100 barrels there? That'd be 5,000 gallons, wouldn't it, roughly?
Yes, sir.
You'd
Is it
have-
nitromethane?
Is it nitromethane, or what kind of gas is it?
No, sir. Nitromethane is special order, and in my 30 years of doing it, I've never sold a drum of it.
What kind of fuel is this?
Well, there's 50 different varieties.
Your variety. What are you gonna have at your place?
I keep about 50 different
It-
varieties.
It's just different octanes, different additives in it?
You know, applications use different types of fuels, from methanol to gasoline.
Yeah.
Um,
Is it more combustible than regular gas?
No, sir.
So it's like having,
Like having a gas can in your garage.
that's a big gas can.
It is. Ours is sealed better than what most people keep in the garage.
What kind of moving equipment do you have on it? I mean, how you move this stuff around? Yeah.
Electric forklift.
You have an electric forklift? Special clamping, or it's just on a pallet, or
They're strapped to pallets.
strapped to pallets?
Put on racks,
I'm sorry?
and they're on racks.
It looks like you have these barrels on racks.
Yes.
Yeah.
How tall do you stack them up?
I think the highest one would be 10 feet off the ground,
So,
12,000 pound rated rack.
so it's like
but-
4 barrels tall, 3 barrels tall?
No, sir.
Two,
tall.
one on top of the other. So that's,
Right. If I can clarify, in the photo that we're in a temporary building right now, which is why it's stacked high, is the building's so small, we had to move out our former.
yeah, I see you have them stacked 4 high in there.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever had an accident? Have you ever had an accident with one of these?
No, sir, not
How long you been doing it?
since 1996.
96? Are these metal barrels or plastic?
Steel.
Steel barrels? Okay. Just standard bung on them that you tighten down, and
That, yeah, with a seal over that.
what happens if you drop one of these? Does it bust open?
No, sir.
They can bust open, I've seen them.
Yeah.
Like I said, I worked in a warehouse for 21 years. And I have seen a 55-gallon drum hit the ground and bust open.
All right, well, I don't
And
have
it
any other
does make a
questions.
mess.
Anybody else have any other questions? Does anybody else like to speak? Yes, sir. All right, come up and state your name, please, sir.
I have concerns about the noise.
Would you sit down and state your name and address, please, sir?
My name is Rex Boaz. I reside at 8310 South 39th West Avenue in Tulsa, Oklahoma. However, I own the property across the road from him, and also the property to the west of him, which is 80 acres. But anyways, that is 15980 East Black Oak Road. And the noise factor has many, I've looked into that, and there are chapters of requirements that noise has to adhere to. It goes on and on and on and on. So one question is that we have laws that supposedly protect us, and I honestly believe that once this shop gets to working, that the decibels are going to be very high at times. I don't know that, hope not. But I have more questions than answers. I don't have any answers. My questions are, we're in the county. It's not the city limits. Do we have the same laws that we should be able to call and have those laws enforced? That they're too loud and we can prove it. And also you have a noise control officer. You could buy gadgets, to measure the decibels. And that is my main concern. I have been watching this thing go up, and I don't have a problem with the look of it, the devaluation of property type thing at all. But I worry that once it goes in, we won't be able to enforce what we should be able to. And also another question is that he's stating 0.73 acres. Is this going to be confined strictly to the 0.73 acres? That leaves 14 acres, 14 point something acres left. Now, can he not use the 14 point acres to facilitate the 0.73 acres? Is it going to be totally confined to that particular property? And so far, I haven't seen it located. It's just been called out. And so those are my questions right there, pretty much. And I don't know. And we weren't given 14 days advance. We weren't good. We were, but we got shut back a day. So we haven't had much time to prepare. I had to have an attorney that couldn't get here that quick. And so I don't know what to ask for. I don't know if we want
Okay.
an adjournment of this or just to go on and take what we get. Another big thing is that this thing's already built. It's already out there. Why wasn't consideration given before? It's like it's a done deal and I know it. And that's, I don't know how to ask the question, but it would seem like it's automatically going to happen, whether or not we oppose it or not.
Yeah. Well, this is the first we've heard of it, so that's why we're here. This is the first we've heard of it. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know what that question is, but it's like I'll do it if I want to.
Right.
So that's coming across. And that's pretty
All right.
much it.
All right, thank you,
I
sir.
could read rules and regulations, the laws. There are many of them. They're almost endless of what noise has limits legally.
You're talking about
And
Washington County
one of the things that's
laws?
interesting is that violation of any providence, this is a penalty, 96.99, violation of any provision of this chapter shall be punished by a fine of not more than $500 or double that amount for each repetition of such violation. That's pretty tough talk. Are we gonna be able to call the police to come out and say, here? I don't know.
Or
I don't know.
we don't have legal representatives.
I know,
down,
I know,
so-
but I'm just saying, it's food for thought. It's why I'm here, just to try to add the good old boy part to it. You've got the letter of the law and the spirit of the law. And if you know much about law. And the letter of the law is that good old boy. He's a pretty good old boy, and let's get blah, 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 you know, no. And everybody looks the other way. The spirit of the law. The letter of the law says it is a law, that's what's going to happen. And that's the part I would pursue.
Okay, well, that's, like you say, is law. We're not,
Yeah.
it'd have to go higher than us.
I would
Sam, do you have any thing you can add
When we
to?
asked the applicant, like, why did not he like apply ahead of time, he said like, I was not aware like there is any regulations in the county.
I can't hear you. What?
The applicant said like he was not aware there are any regulations in the county that like he needs to follow. And that's why we went and asked him, and he like applied for the CUP.
I can't hear you, but whatever.
Okay,
Exactly.
My problem. So I'm done?
thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Yep.
Does anyone else like to speak? All right, state your name and address and.
My name is Janelle Kelterborn. I live at 16197 East Black Oak Road, directly south of the property we're talking about. And most of the issues I have been covered previously. Questions have been asked. I did have a question about why the CUP wasn't applied for, because when you come, I assumed when you come to get a permit to build something in the county,
We
You
don't have
don't?
building permits in the county.
you don't?
Yeah, that causes us problems all the time.
Okay, well.
This is
then-
not the first time we've had people show up that didn't know they needed to do this.
Okay. And my big question is, well, I have several. The enforcement question, because when you were talking about this before we were speaking, you said that you weren't really sure how it would be enforced, the noise and I mean, how will this be enforced? If
The
there's a
county-
noise violation, if there is a fuel spill, because there's Mason Creek that is directly south, and this is built right above the floodplain. So if there is a spill, it will be built into the floodplain area.
Well, it's a state requirements. He has to build like above the floodplain elevation.
Yes, but if there is a spill,
Is
how
Is
is?
there containment required?
It's one of the conditions that like he needs to have a containment, I guess.
So, yeah, there will be containment,
There will be containment.
yeah.
It has to follow state regulations as well. It's like one of the requirements.
And the use this kind of noise will affect, yes, the church, it will affect me. It will affect all of the residents around. It's a residential area, basically. I mean, there's houses per acre. And the testing of the race cars was addressed. can that be done can that be required to be done within an insulated area so we do not hear it? It's already loud. I mean, I already hear the construction, I understand that, I hear that. I'm not real close to the property, but I can hear just the basic construction. If they're going in to test race cars on the fuel, that is not
Yeah,
what that
some of
area
the
is.
planning conditions like addresses all of your concerns, like number 6, install interior wall insulation, and the fire like safety, they have all, like, it has like all the concerns about like containment and hazardous material and all of this.
So
Yeah.
that will all be, there are regulations for all of that, and who will make sure that those are followed?
Well, we don't have enforcement, but in case if there is any violation and we know about it, we inform our like attorney, and like they will take like the next steps. They can fine him, they can like send someone from the sheriff's office to give him citation.
And that will have to be reported by who?
I mean, it has to be reported by someone who noticed that. It's like, it's a three-employee department, like, where the county's so big, we don't go and like
Yeah.
inspect everything.
There's no roving inspector out there that's looking for violations.
So it's just, basically, it's just kind
Basically,
of a
like-
free-for-all. The other question I have is, the hours are stated approximately 8:30 to 5,
Yes,
Monday
ma'am.
through Friday. So can I assume correctly that there will be no race car engine testing outside of those hours? And-
Yeah, we addressed this like a minute ago. He's supposed to like honor like all of the requirements he put like in his application.
But again, there's no enforcement.
Yep. I guess like he's
It's like an honor system.
yeah, it's an honor system because that's what like we trust. We put like faith in our applicants.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess that's all I have. Was just really surprised that something like that would happen without this process happening before.
Yeah, we brought him into
The thing's
compliance.
built.
Yeah, we brought
Yeah,
him
what are
into
you gonna do?
compliance. That's the best we could do.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to come before the board? All right, seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board. Anyone have any questions or?
Running man.
Oh, that one. So, let's say they don't follow the rules as far as the noise and everything like that, and it's reported, what happens if it's not adhered to?
Yeah, we normally like, normally the way it works, like if we have any reports from the neighbors or like any noise or violation of the conditions, we contact the applicant first, and we make sure like to address with him so he can like rectify the mistakes that's happening. And if this continues, we inform, as I mentioned, we inform our attorney, and we can write him like a citation.
That's about all you can do, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm gonna assume that like he is investing enough money in this, so like he needs to follow the regulations, so just to make it happen.
Yeah, it seems like he's done a real good job as far as construction and an idea. It just needs to follow through.
Is it because this is in the county? I'm just curious, because I worked at the airport, and we had to follow OSHA and all this stuff that had to be done.
Yeah, we're hoping like he's follow OSHA just in case of like any accident happens, so nobody will sue him.
Okay.
Yep.
All right,
Couple
Joe.
of questions. Do we have the ability to make a
Oh, yeah, you can
conditional
add-
use
you-
permit for review? Like, let's give the approval for a year and then see, it come back for a renewal? Is there any
I've never
mechanism?
seen that.
I've never seen that.
I mean,
like it's-
that would certainly keep somebody honest.
Yeah,
with the-
we've never seen that, but you can always add conditions, more strict conditions if you want to. And
Well, as some of the.
yeah, there is no
members said
temp CUP, so like we'll see you in a year and like we can
So
see the
if we have
progress.
a neighbor that's playing loud music every night, that's noise, and it's the county, and you call the sheriff, and they come out and say, hey, can you turn it down, right?
Yep.
And that's typically what happens with free people.
Yes.
Laws are here to protect people, but they're also to protect the private property rights
Sure.
of people, and you live in the county for a reason. And if you don't like noise and industry, you live in a city, in a neighborhood, right?
Yes, sir.
So, I understand the concerns of the folks, I really do. And it all does come down to how neighborly we are and how considerate we are. You know, you've got the EPA and things like that for spills. That would be my main concern, would be spilling. And if you have, you know, I have containment in just a 155-gallon drum, I have to have a container that contains the entire contents of it.
100%, yeah.
100%. So how do we know that's going to be done? Well, you don't punish somebody before the crime. So I'm going to lean towards approving this and letting him take any other concerns to the quorum court.
If there is.
Mr. Collier, you sure you don't want to speak to this? We've heard from the public, this is your project. Are you sure you don't want to speak to us on this?
I'm confident that it's not gonna be the problem that they feel that it will be. Myself, my family.
You need to come up to the microphone and if you're going to talk.
Myself, my family, we've lived in Northwest Arkansas all our lives. We have a commitment to the area. You know, we pride ourselves on doing the right thing and the right reason. And you know, when we do a project, we do it right. I've been doing this for 30 years in Fayetteville and Greenland, and we've never had any problems. And I'm going to be a good neighbor, and everybody can have my number, and they're welcome to show up and look around. And if I can help my neighbors, I will.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. You make a motion?
I'm make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Next item. This is in the county, H&H Concrete Services, CUP.
We've got our vicinity map of the area. This is the site map. And these are the neighbors who were notified. This project is in the Springdale planning area. The applicant is requesting a conditional use permit to provide small batch concrete rental trailers that mix on the way to the job for homeowners and small businesses. The location would also provide other small rental equipment and supplies for purchase to complete the jobs. The parcel is 0.5 acres, and to date, planning staff has received one comment in opposition, citing noise, safety, and environmental concerns. The business will be operated by 2 employees. Hours of operation will be Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturday, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. The applicant will erect a 6-foot privacy fence surrounding the property and a security gate. The applicant desires signage a maximum of 4 feet by 8 feet, non-illuminated. And then we have our standard planning conditions.
All right. Anyone have any questions of the staff?
I didn't catch where exactly this was. Is this out in Sonora? Across from that school?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's
Okay.
closed there before, like it's 4
Okay.
12 east, it's like half.
That's next one.
It's on that line between. It's on the line between the county and the planning area, exactly. Yep.
That's that place? Okay, I know where it is.
If you remember, like the Oriana project with all the cars, it's like the one next to it. Dollar General is like to the east, east of that.
How big are these small batch concrete rental trailers?
It's like the one you can hold like in a truck behind you. It's like the tiny mixers, like you can like hook up to your like hitch and like take it to the side. Yeah, it's a size like half a trailer size, so it's not that big.
What is it?
Yeah,
Three yards of concrete or whatever?
Yeah, so
Something
he's
like that?
basically, he's gonna sell you this with the material you can mix, take it to your home instead of like hiring a big company, pour like, and come back and bring it. So
Yeah.
he promised that like he's gonna be also like a good stewardess of the land and not it's gonna wash anything. And if he's gonna do, he's gonna have encatchment area, so he's gonna watch everything and keep everything away from going into the ground. Yeah, it's half an acre, it's not that big, so.
Anyone have any other questions of the board, of the staff, excuse me? All right, seeing none, I'll open it up to the to the audience here. Anyone have any comments or questions? Is the applicant here, and do they want to make a presentation?
I don't think he was able like to make it. Like he told us like there is a 50-50 chance he won't be able
All right.
to.
All right, seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board.
Yeah, what conditions have been put on it so far by your department, Sam?
He's supposed to adhere like to all the requirements from the authorities, like the utilities and all of that, because like the Springdale Water Authority, they have like lots of like requirements, and the electric company as well, because like they have like scarce amount of like water supply over there, so he needs to stick to that. And just be the technical issues that like we went through with him, with the engineer, like it's all been addressed. Like he needs to adhere to that just like to be able like to continue with the business. Other than that, any changes, it needs to come before the planning board.
So tell me again about the washout, where somebody brings their thing back and it's
Yeah,
gotta be washed out, and
I guess
it's
like
completely
there is.
gonna put it in a plastic swimming pool like
I
most
believe like
companies do?
there is supposed to be an encatchment like wastewater like area where he's gonna like be able to clean and like collect and then like take it somewhere else. And if in case if like it's like deeply soiled, he has to take it to a wash. There is a specific wash station that they can collect all that like dirt and like gravel. He won't be able to make, if he cannot do it like on his site without damaging anything, he needs to take it somewhere else, and he's aware of that.
Anyone have any other questions? All right. Make a motion?
Has he adhered to everything?
Yes, he agreed like to everything, and we sat with him like maybe 3 times. He visited the office, and like we had like multiple phone calls with him, and like he's aware, and like he's been doing this like for a while now, so he's aware of everything.
In lieu of any other action, I'll make a motion to approve it.
That's good. All right, motion's been made. And a second? All those in favor? Aye. All right, we'll go on to the next item then. This is for the White River RV CUP. Staff comments.
Yes, sir. So White River RV Park CUP, you might have seen this before. So this is the site vicinity map, the site map, and the neighbor notification map. And the applicant is requesting a CUP to provide 27 spots, 40 by 80 RV spaces for lease. The subject parcel is equals 4.82 acres in size. The project will use 3 acres of it and will be required to submit a large-scale development when the project is approved. To date, planning staff received like 2 comments and phone calls in opposition and voicing their concern about the project. There will be a total of like 2 employees on site. The hours of operation will be between 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. daily. Applicant will erect a fence around the septic field and green spaces to keep them clean. There will be no signage on the property. Beaver Lake Water District has like lots of conditions about this, and like most likely you've seen this before when it came as the tiny homes. The planning condition is like straightforward. One of them is like the screening to the adjacent properties and addressing all the technical issues. Same thing, he needs like to stick to the hours of operation and make sure like any changes comes before the planning board. And I believe Beaver Water District representative is here, like if you have any question for him, the applicant and his lawyer is here if you have any further questions.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions of staff before we open it up for comments?
Can you tell me what is the neighborhood that's to the north of that, across the bridge? Is that on sewer or a public septic?
Our septic.
Septic.
All those houses to the north are on a septic system?
Yeah, it's not the house, it's gonna be like an RV park, so it's gonna be slabs.
No, I'm asking about across the highway to the north.
Across the highway to
All
the
those
north,
houses.
now,
Yes, they are.
there is like a subdivision, and to the east of that, there is another RV park.
You know,
Right, but they're all on septics.
I believe so.
they are.
Yeah.
Okay, I assume you're the applicant?
That is correct.
All right, you state your name and,
My name is Will Kellstrom. I represent the applicant, Jonathan McJunkins. So just a short couple remarks prepared for y'all. As Sam just said, this is a proposal for 27 RV parking spots on roughly 4.82 acres. The development only takes up 3 acres of that. So this proposal may look familiar to you because we recently submitted a proposal for a tiny home park, which was similar except with a few big differences. For example, it is now for an RV park, so by its nature, it's not going to be 100% occupied all the time. There are detention ponds in this site plan now. We have a fence that surrounds the septic field. And as opposed to last time, we actually have septic approval now. The ADH has approved our septic system. So as for the septic system, and if you guys have any specific questions about the design, Jonathan in the last 6 or 7 months has become a master on septic systems, and I'm sure he'd be happy to answer them. But this is an approved septic system by ADH. It's in the packet, the permit. This is a state-of-the-art system. You're not going to find this anywhere else. This isn't a bunch of PVC pipes with holes drilled in them. It has extra capability due to its proximity to the lake, which was required by ADH. One of those features is nitrogen reduction that's being added into the wastewater before it exits the system. So just to give you an example of how effective this system is, the average septic system from a home outputs wastewater with contamination levels at about 300 milligrams per liter. Beaver Lake, in its normal state, has about 2 to 5 milligrams per liter. Our system outputs at 2 to 5 milligrams per liter. So in other words, whatever is coming out of our system is as clean or cleaner than what's already in the lake. I will also add that this is the same system we've been working with all along. It's designed for tiny homes, and now we are proposing it for RVs. So in that sense, it's over-engineered, and to that end, it was over-engineered to begin with because of the proximity to the lake. Additionally, there is a service agreement with a local septic system servicer for routine maintenance and repair, which was required by the ADH as well, and that's also in your packet. If you guys have any extra conditions that you would like to add onto this that would make you feel better about the longevity of this septic system, please feel free to suggest them, and we're happy to have a discussion about that. So I want to talk about some of the opposition that you might hear tonight. There has been mainly one party who's been very vocal about this. It's been a neighbor, and their presentations have not always been terribly concerned with the facts. So please look at what's in the packet and not the people who don't want this to pass, whatever they're telling you. For example, there is no risk of anyone parking on top of a septic field. It's fenced in. This development is not designed to drain directly into the lake. There is a letter that says the site drains into the lake because every single site on the lake drains into the lake. It's all downhill. We're accessing this development from 412, not the ravine that's on the property. There's a Beaver Water District letter that has been, a lot of emphasis has been given to it. Beaver Water is going to be generally opposed to anything that's right on the lake. The Arkansas Department of Health knows it's on Beaver Lake, and they have given us additional requirements and required us to over-engineer it with that in mind. The developed area of this lot is not in the floodplain. The 3 acres that we're using is not in the floodplain. ADH measured that. That's what they use in their calculations and their requirements for what we have to design for this system. So in kind of wrapping this up, This is a weird piece of property. It's right next to a big bridge right on the lake. It's right next to a US highway. By right, you can use it for agriculture or single family. I think we all know agriculture is probably not the best use there. I would say that single family is probably not a good use either, with it being right next to a bridge. I don't know who'd want to use it for that. That leaves commercial uses, which is probably worse than what we're suggesting now. So there has to be something that is acceptable for that piece of property, and we think this is a good fit. There have been a few other RV parks that have been approved within the nearby area in recent years, and none of them were able to come at their conditional use permit meeting and say that they had septic approval. They were also a lot larger than ours, so really the only difference between ours and theirs is, I would say, we're better prepared and have less impact because we're a lot smaller. So in conclusion, we really tried to take the board's concerns from the last meeting and put together a different proposal, and try our best to address those and bring you guys a better proposal. So with that, I'm here if you guys have any questions, as well as Jonathan McJunkins, who is the applicant on this project.
Thank you for your presentation. The paved areas, is that permeable pavement or impermeable pavement? Is it asphalt or concrete, or what's the plan on that?
It's gravel.
It's gravel? Okay, that's good.
The engineer has a letter in that packet that shows the pre and post development flow rates. And for the 100-year floodplain, it adds approximately 0.47 CFS. It's just about the same post development.
You're talking about the septic system. Is that a proprietary design, or is it, where did that come from?
It was suggested by the Department of Health. There's a few other properties there's more than a few properties in the state of Arkansas that are on waterways. And that system is a treatment system that, as he proposed, as it comes out the drip lines, not out of PVC pipe. It's already processed to a level of 9 BOD, and by the time it's nitrogen inducted, we're meeting what the lake is today as well.
Okay, is it a company, do you buy the system from a company, or what is it?
The state required a contract with Bud Moore out of Lincoln. Bud has worked with, I guess, the state for years and years, and he is required to install it. He's also required to inspect it every 3 months and perform regular maintenance, and I'm also required to have any parts on hand at all times for him.
Okay, still didn't answer my question.
Oh,
Is it made by a manufacturer, or?
Yeah, I think it's in the packet. I don't have the name of it.
Okay, I don't have a packet, so.
I think there's probably 50 pages about that system altogether. It's
Okay, so it is a proprietary design that's tried and true. It's not just something.
It's the one that is the only one that the state uses.
Okay, that's what I was getting
Sorry.
towards. Thank you.
I've got a question. Is the Corps of Engineers involved in this? I mean, usually on the lake, it's the Corps of Engineers have to approve if you throw a bolt on the ground.
I think Sam can probably address their level of involvement. Essentially, they get to look at the project and give comments.
We always inform the neighbors, including the Corps of Engineers. Never heard anything back from them. Normally they don't, unless if there is a problem, they will address it themselves.
You know, boat docks and things floating on the lake, they do, but maybe off the shore, they're pretty stringent on what their requirements are. And Mr. Chairman, on the system, I had a experience with this type of system he's talking about recently, and it's pretty robust. It's designed for these kinds of areas, and it's not like you and I would have out in a 40-acre place. It's not that kind of a septic system, and it's pretty commercially available.
What is the big difference now between the tiny homes and the RVs that are going to come in, size-wise?
Occupancy is probably the biggest piece. We feel like it's going to be around 60% occupancy versus tiny homes would almost be 100.
There are a few other things that I would point out about that. One, when we first brought the project for the tiny homes, there was a concern brought that, what if people are driving over this septic field? That's fenced off, so that's a change that helps it. The occupancy is a big one. There's also an ability that if the conditions are breached in the future, or if the site becomes unusable, it's RVs. They can pick up and leave. It's not tiny homes where that's their home. So it is much less a permanent development and more well, it's permanent in the sense that it'll be designed to use for RV parks as long as it's commercially viable, but it's not permanent in the sense that people are stuck there if there becomes a problem with the septic 30 years from now.
What kind of fence is it that's surrounding the?
Pipe. Steel pipe. Steel welded pipe.
That's a fence? Okay.
Is there a office facility in this? I'm looking at the layout. Is there, you drive up to rent a space at night or whatever, a week, or how does that work?
Yeah, I have a person that's going to be actually staying there and managing the place, so they'll be occupying one of those locations.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, seeing none, I'm going to open it up to the audience.
One more clarification about like the floodplain. As it stands now and the active map, the property is like a third of it is in the floodplain. But he already acquired, back in February, he acquired like a floodplain permit. So he's building above the flood level, so.
So it is in the floodplain or isn't in the floodplain?
It is in the floodplain. You can take a look. Yeah, the property and like some of the development, yes. If you switch back.
Not too familiar. I'm just going off of what Sam Dunn with the Department of Health sent us. And I spoke with him again yesterday about it as well. It's a type A.
Doesn't mean
Zone
anything.
A, yes.
Zone A is,
So it's
the difference between Zone A and other zones, it doesn't have elevation on it, so you have to acquire the elevation, but it's still a floodplain.
Yes, and we did that with the Department of Health, measuring off that 1135 BFE mark, and we found that flood map was incorrect.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
FEMA would
common.
disagree with that.
The new maps show it accurate, but we're not using those yet.
Well, like the new maps is not active yet.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions before I open it up to the audience? All right, seeing none, anyone from the audience like to speak? Y'all need to
Thank you.
vacate the chair.
Thank you all.
All right.
Hello, my name is Robert Rhodes, and I'm with the law firm of Hall Estill. And I, contrary to what he said, I'm not representing one neighbor, I'm representing 4 neighbors. And those neighbors are Wayne Arnold, Gregory Hawthorne, Eric Smith, and Rick Wharton. I've been told that Mr. Atta has forwarded a letter that I've written, and hopefully you've had a chance to look at that. And so I'm not going to read that letter. I'm going to be courteous with your time, but I would like to hit a few high points if I may. I think you guys, in the questions you're asking, I think you can kind of sense that yeah, there are some differences, but for the most part, this is pretty much the same CUP request. It's virtually the same. Well, he did say it's the same septic system, and one thing that he didn't discuss, and that I think is probably very important, is the compatibility issues. And so, if you're if you take into consideration what a local broker has said, which is that this will greatly diminish the value of the property, well, that sort of keys into compatibility. This is the reason that my clients are against this is not just because of the lake issues, not just because of the of the septic system issues, but it's the compatibility issues. And again, the Beaver Lake, last time on the last CUP, and again, Beaver Lake Water District, and again on this CUP, has stated that, concerning about the floodplain maps, that portions of the septic field could potentially be underwater at times. That's, the water district saying that. That's not the neighbors saying this, that's the water district. And then they believe that using the lake as a detention basin is dangerous. The RV courts that are north and east of this have different drainage systems that are probably not putting so much water downhill into the lake. And also Beaver Water District says that's too much density that close to the lake. Page 94, staff report quotes the Springdale Waters Utility, in which they indicate the water system capacity is very limited. Again, that's going to impact neighbors' water pressure and so forth. Further, in regard to compatibility, if you look at the application that the applicant filled out, the first question on that application asked, how is this compatible? And the answer, well, they don't really answer how it's compatible. They say, well, the river's edge is 200 feet away, and that's the River's Edge RV park, and the King's Ransom is, I don't know, like I forget what it says, but it's like 700 feet or something like that, or a fourth of a mile. That's what they say, a fourth of a mile. Well, what they're trying to say there is that, oh yeah, this is all compatible because everything around there is RV parks. Well, I guess they didn't measure. If you get on Google Map, you'll see that the River's Edge is not 200 feet away, it's 650 feet away. The King's Ransom RV Park is not a quarter of a mile, it's more like 9/10 of a mile. Everything around there, including the four neighbors that I represent, is single-family agriculture. And their issue is basically, this is going to drive values down, this is going to be not going to be compatible. They claim they're going to put screening up. There's really nothing to tell them what reasonable screening is. But the biggest issue is it's just not compatible. And I would hope that with that in mind, that you would deny this. And I stand ready to answer questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone have a question?
One question. Do you have a consensus on what you think is compatible that somebody else should do with their land?
Well, I don't know if it certainly would be compatible if people would put homes there or something of that nature. I can tell you that if you look on, I think I put it in my letter, if you look on Zillow, this owner has had this, has put this up for sale, and he's divided that property into he's drawn 4 different lots. So it appears that he's got another avenue to make some money off of this piece of property. And I think he's got it. I think he had it listed for like $200,000 for just 1/4 of it.
So, can you tell me, help me understand, if we go north across 412 and you've got that neighborhood, and that's pretty dense, besides the mobility element of the RVs, what's different?
Well, first of all, when he answers that question and he talks about, about compatibility, that question is asking him specifically, is this compatible? And he makes reference to those two RVs that aren't as close as he says. Also, they're across the highway. What is what he should have said is, well, no, we're not really compatible because there's neighbors around that, that have single-family agricultural, zoning that's still in place.
Well, I guess I'm not asking the question right. Other than the fact that the occupants of this proposed RV park can drive away, they still are living there in single units at probably a little bit less density than the neighborhood to the north of 412. The houses that are built, and they're on septic as well, so, you know, I can't really see a difference.
I don't know the density to the north, I apologize. But again, those are to the north and across the highway. I think that's a big difference. The highway is a demarcation, and these neighbors are looking at the property that they own and live on, and it's single-family agriculture, and that's what they're hoping to preserve.
Any other questions of attorney? All right. Anyone else from the audience? No, you can't talk. Wait,
Good evening, Nathan Crouch, 4338 Bluebird Street. Also here on behalf of the neighborhood adjacent to this proposed development. I wanted to mention that that neighborhood, Blue Springs Village, is about 4 to 5 units per acre, all on their own individual septic systems, for what it's worth. This one's roughly going in about 9 units per acre, all on the same septic system. But what I wanted to say is that, no doubt, the CUP is about it's about compatibility rather than the technical aspects of the development. And so with that in mind, I just wanted to come up here and say that the neighbors within that community are opposed to this based on compatibility. Thank you.
One of the requirements is like the applicant has to go through the large scale because it's like 3-acre developments. So if this passes, it has to go through like the extra large scale process. Well, like more engineering is going to be involved.
Okay, it's not the last we see of it if it's approved, in other words.
Yep, so you're going to see it again.
Okay. Anyone else from the audience like to speak?
I would like to point out that
We need to come up to the microphone and
Blue Springs Village is 4 to 5 units per acre, 27 units divided by 4.82 acres is 5.6 units an acre. So we have 4 to 5 units per acre in that neighborhood and 5.6 if you want to count them as if the residences.
So that's 27, your project's 27 locations divided by 3 acres, so.
The entire parcel is 4.82.
And you're assuming that it's fully occupied.
If it's fully occupied, which we don't really expect it to be.
Regardless, it has to go through the large scale anyway. Yeah. And it, you know, like it's prelim and final, so
Okay.
there are gonna be inspections anyway.
All right. Anyone else have any comments or questions? All right. Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the board.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the White River CUP as presented.
Second.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Joe Maynard? Yes. Maria Banks? Lisa Miller?
No.
Jay Piercy?
Yes.
Neil Helm?
Yes.
No.
Philip Humbard?
Yes.
Lauren Shackelford is absent.
So that's 4 to 2 that passed.
Okay. All right,
Thanks, Jay.
got one more item. You're not gonna stay for the last item?
Yeah, his commitment.
All right. This is a land development hearing for Fayetteville Planning Area, Weddington, Dollar General, pre-LSD.
This is our vicinity map for the Dollar General. Our site map and the neighbors who were notified. This project is in the Fayetteville planning area. The applicant is requesting a pre-LSD for a 12,480 square foot Dollar General store. The subject parcel is 3.14 acres. The location currently has no assigned zoning. As a result, a CUP is not required. To date, planning staff has received one comment in opposition. The proposed development will have 40 parking spaces, 2 of which will be ADA accessible. Hours will be 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., 7 days a week. We have a number of planning conditions with this project. And if there are any questions, that is the end.
I have a question. What is the one complaint?
It's not a complaint as much as like it's like a concern slash complaint. So across the street there is like a tiny convenience store, 16th Street, and his complaint is like this is like definitely going to like adversely affect his business if it stays there. So, but yep. And I had the conversation with him over the phone, and I told him like, and it's actually like through emails, and his request is like, is there is any way that this can move like east or west, like about like 4 or 5 miles? And like our answer was, we're not like cities, we don't designate areas, and it's just like the way it is. So it was picked. Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? All right, seeing no questions, we'll open it to the audience. Anyone from the audience like to speak? Do we have an applicant here? Applicant, we'll listen to them first, I guess.
Hello, I'm Cody Sexton with Balloon Associates, representing Bartlett Architecture on the project. Project is pretty much going to be your typical neighborhood Dollar General. We've got a stormwater detention facility, a pond to mitigate stormwater flow through the property on the west side to make sure that we're actually fairly drastically decreasing the stormwater that's flowing through the property at the end of the project compared to what goes through there on a storm today. And otherwise, I'm just present if anyone has any questions.
Yeah, I need to add like one more comment. Mr. Marcus from Little Rock, I believe. He is, I'm not sure like if he's the architect, but like he contacted us about this project back in the spring, and they've been working on this diligently since then. And they submitted like last week or the week before, and like we've been like in contact back and forth over this. And keep in mind, this is one of the few spots in the county that has no zoning, so they don't have to get a CUP. That's why you've never seen it before. So it went straight to the large scale. We have a zoning map, and like it's one of those spots like that's not like within a zoning map. Originally, I guess back in 2006 and 2000 until like 2013, I guess there was no zoning area along the highways, and it started like diminishing, and that's one of the few ones that like left without any zoning, so that there is no like requirements. If this was like less than 1 acre, we would never have seen it here as well. It wouldn't be required, so there is no CUP. That's one of the weird ones.
Is there other areas in the county like it?
We have like few spots. Yeah, the one next door to him is the same, but it's already occupied. Yeah, we haven't seen many. Like we've been here for a while, you haven't seen.
Yeah, I haven't seen one.
Yep. So that's one of the few ones left.
Thank you. Anyone else from the audience like to speak? Please state your name and address, sir.
Keith Navziger, 4256 West Morning Mist Drive. My wife and I and our trust own the 40 that sits directly east of this property. So I think you're going to hear a fairly boilerplate set of concerns. I'm not in construction. I'm not in realty. We purchased our 40 for long-term appreciation for residential development. There's development on 3 sides. some subdivisions, some larger, nicer homes. So certainly, after consulting with attorneys and developers, there's no doubt we're going to take a hit to the value of our land. And just other concerns just off the top of my head, again, just perhaps more worthy for discussion than anything. The intersection there at 51st and Weddington already suffers a great deal of congestion as far as traffic-wise. It's very difficult to navigate off of 51st onto Weddington. So I have some concerns about what this is going to look like with the additional traffic from a retail facility of this size. Additionally, the nature of the way it sits in around this S-turn here, we already find turning off the north side of our property, it's very challenging to safely navigate that road. So just have some concerns about a large quantity of traffic trying to navigate without signals or lights onto Weddington there, where there's the nature of the trees and the bend in the road is challenging. And then I guess what I say is for the boilerplate is compatibility issues. We do, of course, have the family convenience store that's leveled their concerns, but of course that place is very small. Gas station, convenience store have been there since the dawn of times, as far as I can tell. This is certainly a very considerable upgrade in what is primarily a residential and agricultural area, with the U of A to the north there with their physiology farm, and then everything else being residential all around. So just a set of concerns that I've seen fairly obvious after talking to attorneys and developers.
Anyone have any questions? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the audience like to speak? All right, seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board.
Mr., from Blue, isn't this portion designated for an expansion of that road?
I do not believe it is at that location.
As I recall, it was on the long term, but that's been a few years back. But there's probably nothing active on it this time.
Right. I don't believe this particular site is. Also, as long as I'm back at the microphone, I will take the opportunity. We understand the concerns about the traffic count and everything. You know, one of the documents, we had to do a small traffic study on the count and everything that was submitted to Washington County with part of this large-scale development package, and also the construction along Highway 16 that will have to be permitted through RDOT as well. And we've been working with James Vaught, our permit officer, since the beginning of the project to make sure that from day one that we were in agreement for what was optimal for safety for the project, and that dictated the location of the driveway going onto the property and site visibility and distance, and we've actually drastically exceeded DOT's requirements for those items. So
my concern was for setbacks. Should there be an increase? I'm confident that there was that in the long-term planning that this is supposed to be a larger road. And that's
off the top of my head, I don't recall the specifics on that, but
I believe it's the sliver like north of that. You can see it like in the map that is not highlighted by green. That would be like the north of the property, but I'm not like 100% sure. Yeah. But that sliver belongs to the Department of Highway. So. Okay.
Well, I was just concerned about setbacks.
Yeah. And one of the other like points I need like to just like mention that their submittal was like intended to be as a final, so almost everything they submitted is complete. But we had to go through the prelim and the final after like they built, so we're gonna do the site visit and the inspection. The staff report is about 326 pages.
I think by scaling, it looks like it's about 150 feet from the edge of the highway now. Can you tell me, I mean, that might help answer his question.
The building?
Yeah, the building.
Distance?
Just by scale, if you turn it sideways, it looks like it'd be about the same distance to the highway. So the setback, you know, they'll probably need 30 feet to widen the highway. and should give them plenty of room.
Way is gonna like expand, it's gonna most likely eat some of the parking lot, but it's not gonna be into the building.
All right, I'm an engineer and I deal in black and white, so I don't like to make guesses on numbers, but I can't quite assess that with my off-the-scale drawing that I have in front of me, so.
All right. Any other questions of Mr. Sexton?
I'll bring it next time. Keep it in my pocket.
That's different. Okay. All right, I'm gonna bring
So
it back.
so this has to go through like the final like LSD process regardless. It's gonna come when it's complete. We have to do the site visit, walk through with our engineer and go on like and verify everything on the site when it's come.
All right, seeing no other comments, I'll bring it back to the board.
I make a motion that we pass this project as it's presented.
I'll second it.
All right, got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. So we're down to other business.
The planning staff and the legal team are working on updating the planning code. I don't know when this is gonna like be finalized, but like we're working diligently. We had like a couple of meetings and like we're updating lots of stuff. Of course, like we'll be aware of it when it happens. The other like major thing that might change the dynamic here, that's Mr. Neilhelm appointment like expires by the end of this month. And I'm not sure if this is the second term or not, but I believe so, correct?
Second or third, I'm not sure.
They kept track.
How long's a term,
we lost
I guess?
track. Yeah, and Jay Piercy is the same thing. That's like his term like expires by the end of this month. So far, I haven't heard anything of a new appointment or like if they're gonna come back, but that's up to the judge to decide, and look, we'll keep you posted if anything happens. Well, I don't know. I mean, like I don't want to like discuss. I don't want to discuss age here. We're like on record. Yeah. Yeah, there is no substitute for experience.
1 year experience over and over and over and over and over.
Yeah, same experience over and over and over. All right, anything else, sir?
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right, I have a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
All in favor, stand up.
Aye.